Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam. Please let's start with our prayers. Om Adnyantimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita study group. Thank you all for joining. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Alright, so we'll do a quick revision of what we've covered so far. My favorite verses. Such clarity God has given us about when does he take Janma and what does he do? Why does he take Janma? Right? Let's quickly revise those. When does he take Janma? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. So whenever dharma begins to fade away, whenever dharma starts declining and adharma starts increasing, right? When there's a major rise in adharma, abhyuthanam adharmasya. At that point, Krishna says, tadatmanam shrujami aham. I descend myself, right? So every time I feel that dharma is losing out and adharma is winning, then to set things right, I descend. Okay? And when I descend, what is it that I do? Right? Paritranaya sadhunam. The first reason why I come is so that all these pious people, all these people who love me, I want to give them relief. Right? So for the deliverance of sadhus, Paritranaya sadhunam, Vinashaya chadushkrutam. I want to destroy all the wrongdoers. Okay? First, I want to gently hug all my devotees. And two, I want to absolutely punish the wrongdoers. And when I do that, dharma samsthapanarthaya, I re-establish the principles of religion. I re-establish dharma. Right? And so for this, sambhavami yuge yuge. I appear millennium after millennium. Right? So Krishna says such beautiful two verses, and before this he has just said that if you have understood my janma and my karma, then you're free to come back to me. Right? But as we understand Krishna's janma and karma, when we get that knowledge, right? I'm getting knowledge. In that process, I have to give up something. And what is it that I have to give up? Raga, bhaya, krodha. Right? Krishna very clearly tells me that I need you to be free from these three enemies. With these three, you cannot come to my place. Right? How much ever knowledge you've gathered, how much ever chanting you've done, how much ever puja path you've done. If you've got raga, attachment, I'm sorry, I can't let you come back. Bhaya, fear. You have fear because you don't trust me completely. So I'm sorry, I cannot take you back. And krodha, anger. I do not like angry people. So I'm sorry, I cannot take you back. Right? So Krishna very clearly says, I want you to first give up attachment, fear and anger. Give these up, take my ashray, and I would love to take you back to my home. Right? And after that, he gives us the most beautiful verse, Ye yathamam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajami aham. As you surrender unto me, I will reward you accordingly. Right? You surrender completely, then know कि you have 100% Krishna's protection. 100%. कहीं पे भी कम नहीं पड़ेगा.
लेकिन if you are not so keen on surrender, he is not Hitler. He is not saying कि नहीं तुमको surrender करना ही है. He says okay, no problem, I will wait. Right? And then he explains कि why is it that people don't surrender to him completely? Why do they go to Anya Devata? Why do we do so much of Devata worship? It's very simple. We're all human beings. We still haven't reached a point where we can have that 100% faith in Krishna. Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. कुछ भी मुझे चाहिए, कुछ भी मुझे नहीं चाहिए, कहीं का भी protection चाहिए, Krishna will take care. When I reach that point, my surrender is complete. But if I haven't reached that point yet, and I still want siddhis, I want success, and am I willing to wait for my success? No. I want my success Shipram, ekdam jaldi. So when I want success and I want it now, that is when I resort to Devata worship. Right? Because Devata worship is very defined. तुम ये पूजा कर लो तुमको ये मिलेगा, तुम ये तपस्या कर लो तुमको ये मिलेगा. So it's very, very defined in a very short period of time. So very sweetly Krishna says, I understand. You want siddhi and you want it very fast, and so you do Devata puja. And I'm not against it. Because dhire, as we do Devata puja, is not making us get into anything wrong. It is dhire elevating us on the same path of spirituality. Right? It is sakama. It is with kamanaye that I do Devata worship. So it's alright. Dhire I will get purified doing Devata worship. Right? But if I connect directly to God, if I connect directly to Krishna, then he says, I promise you, Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti. When you give up this body, you will not have to take birth again in this material world. Right? So we have to remember always कि slowly let's bring about a change in our consciousness. Please remember, offer complete respects to all devatas. Don't ever misunderstand कि we are saying don't respect the devatas. Devatas are far more advanced devotees than we can ever aspire to be. Right? So please make sure that you have the highest respect for them. पर मांगना है ना, धीरे धीरे बंद करो. धीरे धीरे let's focus on moving to nishkama karma without any expectations. And then whatever we want, मांगना है तो ask from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because he has said, akamaha sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradhihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. He has very clearly said in the Bhagavad, whether you have no kamanaye or you're full of kamanas, don't go idhar udhar. Your father is sitting. Please come to your father. Because in that scene, when you come to me, I will first validate if what you're asking for is good for you in the long run. Right? So, please understand, go to the Supreme Father is what he's saying. Then he, I'm doing a little complete revision is because we haven't met for 2 weeks. Then in the 13th verse, Krishna talks about, I understand that everybody has very different prakrutis, very different svabhavs. And therefore what I have done is, I have created this Chatur Varnyam Maya Srishtam. Chatur Varna. Right? I have created these 4 Varnas in society. Right? The 4 Varnas. I have created Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. And I have created this based on guna and karma. Based on qualities and actions. I have not done this on the basis of birth. Please remember, modern caste system is on the basis of birth and it is condemned. It is wrong. Caste system should be on the basis of your qualities and your activities. If I have Brahmanical qualities and I do Brahmanical work, then my Varna is Brahman. Okay? If I have those qualities and if I do those karmas, only then does my Varna get defined as Brahman. Okay? Anyways, so in this material world, all of us have certain qualities. we should try and take work that is in line with our general swabhav, our general prakruti, our general guna. And Krishna is not saying that Brahman is superior to Shudra. Please understand, for the successful running of a society, everybody is very, very important. Brahman is the head, Kshatriya are the arms, Vaishya the stomach, and Shudra the legs. So if you think of your own body, you cannot say that your legs are inferior to your hands, or your legs are inferior to your stomach, or your legs are inferior to your brain, right? Yes, the brain comes up with $1 million idea, but for that idea to be executed, the hands, the tummy, the legs are all extremely crucial, right? Therefore, everybody who belongs to any varna, so long as he is doing work in line with his qualities, then he is a very, very essential contributing member of society. And then Krishna says, please remember one thing. I have created this Chaturvarnyam, but I do not belong to any of these divisions. Right? So he says, I am the creator, but I am not bound by the laws of it. So Krishna, whether he is born in Yadukul or he is born in Raghukul, right? He is independent of this binding of the laws of karma. He is independent of these divisions that he has created in Chaturvarnyam. Right? Then he says, no work affects me. The biggest difference between being God and being stuck in this material world. God also appears and does all kinds of activities, but when he does these activities, he is not bound by them. He is free from all karma bandhan. Whereas we get stuck in our karma ka fruit, karma phal, and therefore we are constantly getting karma bandhan. Okay? Krishna says, the minute you understand कि यार भगवान को देखो, उनको कोई काम अफेक्ट नहीं करता, right? He has no desire for any fruits of his actions. When we understand that, we will also start moving in that direction. We will also stop getting bound by our karma. We will be free from karmic reactions. Right? So last week I covered a story about Nitya Brahmachari and Nitya Upavasi. Always keep that in mind. है ना? कृष्णा सारी लीलाएं कर रहे हैं, लेकिन अंदर से he is Nitya Brahmachari because he is not attached to any of it. Exactly like that, Durvasa Muni ate all the food that the gopis had cooked. Right? It looked on the face of it that he enjoyed a grand feast. But he calls himself Nitya Upavasi because that food did not bind him. Right? And therefore, we all need to live our lives like that. The example tells us that it is not that you don't have to do karma. Do karma, do it like Krishna. Stay Nitya Brahmachari. And it's not saying don't eat. Please eat. Please interact with everything in this material world. But do it like Durvasa Muni. Be Nitya Upavasi. Don't get stuck in it. These stories are very, very important because the more we think about it, the more they reveal to us. Right? I have to interact in this material world. I have to maintain all the relationships that I have. And I have to do it with a lot of love. But I should not get bound. That is the underlying statement here. Right? And the only way I cannot get bound is doing my duty but not getting stuck in the phala. Okay? Did we do verse 15? It was just the conclusion of that section where Krishna is saying, if you understand how I did my karma, how Durvasa Muni did his karma, then you will not ever get stuck in karma bandhan. Therefore, perform your duty like the great sages have done it in the past. Right? So he says, Arjun, your desire to run away from the battlefield is rubbish. Right? Just like the sun god, just like Vivaswan, just like Manu, just like Ikshvaku, just like all the great Raja Rishis, like Amrish Maharaj, like Janak Maharaj, they didn't run away. They did their duty. But how did they do their duty? No raga, no dvesha, no bhaya, no krodha, right? No sense of proprietorship, no pride. Nirmamo, nirahankaraha. Like that, do your duty. Be a leader that others can follow. Right? And then I said, I think I quoted Buddha. Where I said Buddha has this beautiful statement. He says, now you have reached that particular stage, right? You've understood how to do your karma. After reaching that stage, you have two options, right? One is you do nothing. You don't get bound by any karma. You do nothing. You stay in your blissful, enlightened state. And you have a second option. Second option is help others to reach that stage. Okay? So what Krishna is telling Arjuna is you need to reach that stage and then you need to help others reach that stage. So be a good leader. Right? Yad yad achariti shreshthas tat tad evetaro janaha. In the third chapter we did, the way a leader acts, that is how everyone is going to look up to him and follow him. So for a leader, all of this is very important. So he's telling Arjuna, do your karma, don't get bound in karma bandhan. Now all of this Krishna knows is very complicated stuff. And so this week he is going to explain to us what is karma, what is vikarma, what is akarma, so that we get a little more clarity. Okay, so I think I have to start from verse number 16. Please correct me. Yes? Okay. So from verse number 16, please repeat after me. Okay? Kim karma kima karmeti kavayopyatra mohitaha tatte karma pravakshami yajñatva moksha se ashubhat. Okay, I purposely said ashubhat. Okay, when you're saying it, it is moksha se shubhat. But you have to understand that the word is ashubh. Such a nice verse. Krishna is saying, Kim karma. What is karma? Kim akarmeti. What is akarma? Right? What is karma? What is akarma? Even kavayo, kavis are supposed to be extremely learned people. Even they are mohame. Even they are completely confused. So very, very wise people. So not just Sonal and Archana and Rashmi and Radha and Urmila. Even great kavis are very, very confused about what is karma and what is akarma. And therefore, tatte karma pravakshami. I am going to explain to you what karma is. I understand that these are complex topics. So Arjun, I am going to explain to you what karma is. Yaj jnatva. After understanding this, moksha se ashubhat. You will get moksha. You will be free from everything that is ashubh, inauspicious. Do we understand this verse? Why is it important for us to know what is karma and what is akarma? Because once we understand that properly, we will be free from inauspicious results. We will not do anything wrong and therefore we will not get inauspicious results. Okay? Please remember that for anything to work efficiently, whether it's a corporate, right, or a department in a corporate, any institution, there have to be certain laws and certain rules, right? Like if you say railway department, the judicial department, all of them have their own rules. Very soon budget will be out and then we'll all go filing our taxes. The IT department of the country has its own set of rules. Chote gaon ka panchayat ho, ya bade desh ka, at the center. Every one of them has different laws. Every one of them are governed by different rules. Similarly, when Krishna is governing this universe, he has certain rules on which everything is based. Correct? It cannot be haphazard. It cannot be chaotic. If you see, the sun will always rise at the right time, the sun will always set at the right time. It'll rise in the east, it'll set in the west. It's very, very punctual if you look at the astrological timings that are pre-predicted, right, written. It's absolutely to the last second, right, millisecond. If you look at how the earth moves, the sun moves, the moon, the stars, right, absolutely on time. The coming of winter, the coming of summer, monsoon, right, or fruits ripen. The entire creation is based on certain principles, right? We all know there is gravity, we know there's magnetism, we know evaporation happens, clouds are formed, rains come down. All of this is being done by the Supreme Lord, and it is being done on the basis of some laws. Similarly, Krishna says, your birth and death ka jo cycle hai, even that is happening under very, very strict laws. And that strict law is known as the law of karma. Okay? And this law of karma is extremely complex. For very simple. Every Ved, every Shastra tells us ahimsa is the way to go. Even in the Bhagavad Gita itself, when God is listing out all the good qualities in a person, He says ahimsa. And yet, standing on the battlefield, Krishna is saying, do himsa. Go engage in violence. So Krishna says, I understand that karma and akarma is getting very confusing. Because your duty varies with time, with place and with circumstance. And at different times, in different places, in different circumstances, how do you figure out what your duty is? Right? It is complex, and so I am going to explain to you what karma is, what akarma is. Listen to me carefully. And if you listen well with proper attention, then you will be able to do the right thing at the right time in the right place. And when that happens, you will not get anything ashubh. You will be moksha, free from ashubh, inauspicious results. Okay, we'll go to verse number 17. Karmano yapi bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha, akarmanascha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gatihi.
The intricacies of actions are very hard to understand. Therefore, one should know properly what the action is, what forbidden action is, and what inaction is.
Lovely. Thank you, dear. 3 concepts that Krishna wants to explain in details. Okay? Karmano yapi bodhavyam. You have to understand what karma is. First line, understand what karma is. Second one, bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha. Please understand what is vikarma. Third line, akarmanas cha bodhavyam. Please also understand what is akarma. So first, understand what is karma. 2, understand what is vikarma. 3, understand what is akarma. 3 different concepts. Gahana karmano gatihi. Krishna is telling Arjun that whole concept of karma is very, very complex. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is telling us very, very clearly that the laws of karma are very difficult to understand. It is very difficult to understand why good things happen to bad people, why bad things happen to good people. Right? So if one is serious about liberation from this whole material bondage, then we need to understand karma, vikarma, akarma. Please use your pens, make a note. In the simplest way, understand what is karma. Actions that I perform for myself, but I do them on the basis of Shastra. Okay? Actions that I perform for myself, but they are based on Shastra. What is vikarma? Actions that I perform for myself, but they are against Shastra. I repeat, vikarma, actions that I perform for my own enjoyment, but they are not based on Shastra. And third, what is akarma? Actions that I perform. But I don't perform them for myself. I perform them for God. Completely on the basis of scripture. Okay? Nipa, you have a question, dear?
Yes, Varsha. So, three karmas or whatever you have explained. So, which one would be the best one?
Yeah, I'll come to that.
Yeah.
I'll come to that.
Okay.
Okay? These are your all actions that we do can get classified into three. Karma. Okay? Karma. Whatever I'm doing for my own happiness. Okay? But I'm not crossing the rules that Guru Sadhu Shastra has set for me. Which means I'm doing this puja because I want something in return. I'm doing it based on some Shastra, based on some Ved, based on Devi Puran, based on Shiv Puran. Right? So I'm doing this with a Sakam Bhav. I want the fruits of my activity. I go to the temple, I pray for something. Right? There's nothing wrong in that. I've gone to the temple, I'm asking for something. For myself. Right? So these activities are giving me punya. I'm trying to get auspicious results. I'm trying to get punya. So I'm praying for more money. I'm praying for success in my career. I'm praying for, my husband's success. I'm praying for my children to do well. I'm praying for good education. I'm praying for fame, for prestige. Right? I'm praying for everything and I'm not crossing the lines. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not doing anything which Shastra is not recommending. Okay? There is that whole Karma Kand section in the Vedas. There is Jnana Kand. There is Upasana Kand. I'm following something that has been written over there and I'm doing that. I'm doing it for my own benefit. That is karma. I get punya and I keep getting elevated in life. More punya I accumulate, the better birth I get in my next life. Okay? That is karma. Vikarma is I'm doing something which is against Shastra. Shastra is saying don't gamble, but I go gambling. Shastra says don't drink. Intoxication is not good for you, but I go drinking. Illicit sex. Shastra says mat isme ghuso tum, lekin I ghuso in it. Right? So when I do things which Shastra is clearly telling me not to do, then I am degrading my soul. I am incurring what is called papa. Right? When Shastra says don't do something, simply don't do it. But when I do it, that is vikarma. I am doing bad karma, so I will get papa. Which means next janam, I will get a lower birth. Understood? The third one is akarma. मैं कर्म कर रही हूं, लेकिन मैं ऐसे कर्म कर रही हूं कि मैं कर्म बंधन में फंसूंगी ही नहीं. राइट? आपने पूछा उमा जी व्हाट इज द बेस्ट वन? बेस्ट वन इज अकर्म. मैं कार्य हर कोई कार्य कर रही हूं. आई एम डूइंग ऑल माई वर्क, बट आई एम डूइंग इट विथ नो अटैचमेंट टू द रिजल्ट. डज दैट मीन कि मैं सिर्फ चांटिंग करूंगी, मैं सिर्फ प्रसाद बनाऊंगी, मैं सिर्फ गीता क्लास अटेंड करूंगी, मैं सिर्फ मंदिर में बैठी रहूंगी, पूजा पाठ करती? नो. What it means is, of course I will do all of that. It connects me to God. But what it means is I will do all my activities. I will go to work. I will raise my children. I will keep my house clean. I will interact with all people. But I will do that as my duty without expecting anything in return. I am not waiting for karma phal, and that frees me. Bhagwan ji, मैं सब कर रही हूँ because you've entrusted me with this responsibility. You've given me the talent, the intelligence, the resources to carry out something. I will do it, but I will do it as an offering to you. I will do it as my duty, right? So I do not get stuck in karma bandhan. That is a karma. And from this moment onwards, we should start doing everything in our lives as a karma. hard to do, very, very hard to do. But we should make an effort. Sonal Agrawal, you have a question here.
Yeah. I want to know, I'm confused, like karma, you said you have to do everything you've been doing. I take care of my kids, but if there is no emotion attached to it, if I'm not, if I'm not emotional about it, और मैं उनके लिए नहीं कर रही हूँ, तो उनकी खुशी या मेरी खुशी के लिए नहीं कर रही हूँ, so like.
My bad. I missed two very important words. Please do everything that you do with utmost love and with utmost dedication. Okay? Just that जब आप अपने बच्चों को बड़ा कर रहे हो, ये एक्सपेक्टेशन मत रखो कि मैं आज इनके लिए कर रही हूं, कल बड़े होके ये मुझे संभालेंगे. मैं कर रही हूं because I'm fortunate that God has entrusted these beautiful souls in my in my dependency, and I will do whatever I can to the best of my ability to raise them to be the finest human beings.
Is it okay to think and to say that कि ये सब मैं अपने लिए कर रही हूँ, अपनी खुशी के लिए कर रही हूँ, because at the end of it, अगर मेरे बच्चे खुशी तो मुझे खुशी मिले.
अगर आप अपने सोल की खुशी के लिए कर रहे हो तो परफेक्ट. अगर आप अपने
my internal self, I feel happy if I'm doing something.
Very important to figure out.
NGO and working with the small kids there, and I feel happy about it. So
yes, ये है ना, आप अपने लिए नहीं कर रहे हो. You're doing it for your आत्मा की खुशी. And that is very, very important. The Atma is what should be Satchit Ananda. So you've understood. You're not doing it to get diamonds in return. You're not doing it to get a fancy, something in return. Atma ki khushi is what is akarma. Because Atma jab khush hota hai, what it is your instant signal where you think your Atma is, that's exactly where Paramatma is sitting. Right? So when you do something and you feel blissful inside, we think I am feeling happy. But really it is that Paramatma who's smiling inside. He's so happy, he's giving you a tight hug. Right? So when your Paramatma inside is happy, then it is akarma. Right? But if you're studying hard with your child because you want his result to be fantastic so you can show off among your family and friends, फिर वो हो गया कर्म. लेकिन अगर आप कर रहे हो क्योंकि भाई I want this बच्चा to be a fantastic addition to society at large, right? Then that is akarma. Right? So gahana karmano gatihi. Karma is very gahana, very complex. Please always remember, and Sonalji, you've joined recently, but please understand there's a triangle. Bhagavad Gita teaches us three things. First, it says, do your duty. Right? आपकी कोई भी जिम्मेदारी हो, आप उसको properly निभाओ. That is the first thing that the Bhagavad Gita teaches us. Krishna is continuously, from the start to the end of the 18th chapter, Krishna is saying, Arjun, get out there and fight that war. Right? So nowhere in the Gita has God said कि छोड़ दो तुम कोई अपनी duty, अपनी responsibility. Okay? So first thing it teaches us is to do our duty. Then it teaches us, do your duty but do it with no attachment. So detach होके duty करो. That does not mean दिल से मत करो. It means कि don't do it with expectation of results. And the third thing it teaches us, most important, it teaches us to do it with devotion. The word devotion becomes important कि भगवान जी मैं बच्चे को बड़ा कर रही हूं ताकि ये आपकी राह पे चले. So you're doing it as an offering to God. You're doing it because you love God. Right? So everybody please remember, on the first page of your Gita you should have this triangle: dutiful, detached and devotional. This is how I want to be in my life. I don't want to fail from these three things: dutiful, detached and devotional. Okay. In fact, it gets us to a very nice WhatsApp pe, this very interesting story on karma has been doing the round. So most of you must have read it, but I'd like to share it. There are these two friends. Now listen carefully. Two friends, Ram and Shyam. They're going out for some business. In the afternoon, they get hungry. So they sit down under the shade of a tree. They open their dabbas. Right? Both of them have got aloo paratha. Okay. Now Ram has got 3 aloo parathas. Shyam has got 5 aloo parathas. Okay, Ram has got 3, Sham has got 5. Both of them open their dabbas and they're just about to start eating when a third guy comes over there. Okay, third guy looks tired, he looks hungry. So Ram and Sham say, bhai aaja, hamare paas to khana hai, aaja hamare saath khana kha le. So Ram has 3 parathas, Sham has 5 parathas, total 8 parathas. Third guy has come, he's hungry. So they say, chalo bhai, all 3 of us will eat equally. Now how can they eat 8 parathas equally? Right? So one guy very brilliant, he says, चलो एक काम करते हैं, हर पराठे को 3 पार्ट में कट करते हैं, है ना? 1 Ram, 1 Sham, 1 third person. 1 Ram, 1 Sham, 1 third person. So 8 parathas they cut into 3 pieces. Each of them eat 8 pieces. हो गया? Right? So each one eats 8 pieces. Everyone is very happy, and then it's time to go for their regular work. But while leaving this third guy, he's so grateful. He says, my God, you guys are such beautiful people. So here, I'd like to give you something. He gives them 8 gold coins. Okay, now Ram and Sham are like, oh my God, we did not want anything in return. But he says, no, I insist. Right? आपने ये सब gold coins के लिए किया नहीं, but I insist. I want to give you these 8 gold coins. Please take them. So Ram says, wow, so nice. Thank you so much. He says, 2 of us. चलो भाई शाम तुम 4 ले लो, मैं 4 ले लेता हूं. शाम 1 मिनट के लिए सोचता और बोलता, व्हाट रबिश, मेरे 5 थे पराठे, तुम्हारे तो 3 ही थे, तो 4 कैसे हुआ भाई? मुझे 5 मिलने चाहिए और तुमको 3 मिलने चाहिए. अब ये थोड़ा कॉम्प्लेक्स हो गया, है ना? व्हाट इज करेक्ट? 4 और 3 and 5. व्हाट इज द करेक्ट वे टू गो? कम ऑन, थिंक. प्लीज अनम्यूट एंड टेल मी व्हाट यू थिंक.
7 1.
No, not people who know the answers. Cheating. People who don't know. Give it some thought and tell me. But Indrajit, I must tell you, I feel so happy that you would remember. So thank you so much. Anybody wants to take a guess?
Correct answer, because we don't know who initiated the thought of first giving the paratha to them and what the bhav were when giving paratha. Now it all comes to that.
Wonderful, Sonal. Wonderful. Superb answer, right? Who knows who initiated the thought? If Ram said it, maybe all 8 should go to Ram. Who had that bhav of sharing? If Sham said कि भाई अपने पास इतना सारा है, then maybe all of it goes to Sham. Maybe Ram shared grudgingly. Maybe Sham shared grudgingly. We don't know any of that. Very good answer. भाव क्या था, है ना? किसने इनिशिएट किया? वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एक्सीलेंट. नाउ for again, remember the bottom line is gahana karmano gatihi. We can't understand how God is going to place it, because only God will understand कि किसका भाव सच्ची में क्या था. Okay? So correct, Sonal. Everything is going to be on basis of what God has figured out. But for us mere mortals who cannot figure out, let's just assume कि राम एंड श्याम दोनों ने साथ में बोला, दोनों का भाव सेम था. Then what is the fair division of those 8 gold coins? Right? So these two, they don't want to fight, so they go to a wise old man, है ना? They go to a wise person like Indrajit and they say, अच्छा, now tell us, bhai, what is the fair way to divide these coins? And Indrajit said 1 and 7. Ram says, ये क्या पागलपन है? 1 to me and 7 to Sham. Right? So Indrajit, now please explain to us, how is it 1 and 7?
Yeah, so we made 8 parathas into 3 parts, so 24 pieces. So Ram had 3 parathas, that means 9 pieces. And out of that he ate himself 8 pieces. So he gave one piece to the third person. Whereas Sham gave 7 pieces to the third person. So that's why he should get 7 pieces of gold and Ram should get 1 piece of gold.
Awesome. Awesome. Did we all understand? Ram had 3 parathas. 3 parathas cut into 3 parts. So 9 pieces थे. लेकिन राम ने तो खुद ही तो 8 खा लिए थे. तो शेयर कितना किया? Only 1. Sham had 5 parathas divided into 3 parts. So he had 15 pieces. He ate only 8. He gave 7 pieces. उसका contribution कितना था? 7. So जब gold coins आए, assuming all else is the same, Sham deserved 7 and Ram deserved 1. Make sense? Just one perspective of looking at it. Right? Of course, Sonal, what you said was extremely deep, and that is actually true understanding of the Bhagavad Gita. Understanding what was the intention, because God always looks at your intention far more than what your actual action is. So I'm very, very touched by your answer. But just to give you an idea of how complex karma could be, right? Gana karmano gatihi. So this is a WhatsApp forward that I used. Okay. So we should remember that God's universe is very just, very fair. The word bodhavyam has been used 3 times in this verse. Right? The verse says, Karmano yapi bodhavyam. Bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha. Akarmanascha bodhavyam. Bodhavyam means please use your buddhi. Right? Use your intelligence and then clearly distinguish between karma, vikarma and akarma. If we keep God at the center of all our activities, if we get His sanction, then everything that we do becomes a karma. Please understand this. All we have to do is continue with our activities, but have God at the center of all our activities. Okay? We'll continue ahead. 4.18, please repeat after me. Karmanya karma yah pashed. Akarmani cha karma yah. Sabuddhiman manusheshu. Sayukta kritsna karma krit.
One who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent among men, and she is transcendental, and she is in a transcendental position, although engaged in all sorts of activities.
Thank you, dear. What an important verse. It says, one who sees inaction in action, and one who sees action in inaction is an intelligent man, even though he is engaged in all kinds of activities. Essentially what Krishna is telling us is first, fundamentally, please understand what is action and what is inaction. Action is something that binds you, something that gives you pap or punya as your result. Okay, action is karma or vikarma, where you will get pap or you will get punya. Inaction is something that does not bind you. No pap, no punya. So it is akarma. Okay? So, if I think कि अच्छा भगवान ने ना बोला है कि भाई inaction करो तुम, तो आज है ना मैं कुछ काम ही नहीं करूंगी. ऑफिस का काम बकवास है, मुझे करना नहीं है. घर तो हमेशा ही गंदा रहता है, मुझे साफ नहीं करना है ना. ये बच्चे, ये हस्बैंड, ये कलीग्स, आई डोंट एनी ऑफ दैट झंझट, है ना. न घर में खाना बनाऊंगी, न साफ सफाई करूंगी. आई विल जस्ट गिव इट ऑल अप बिकॉज एवरीथिंग हैज बिकम सुपर बर्डनसम, है ना. भगवान ने बोला है अकर्म. Please remember that is the worst kind of karma, because that is inaction. That is laziness. And Krishna is saying absolutely not. I do not allow people to be lazy, because in this case you might think you're doing nothing, but your doing nothing is going to lead to sin. Remember Arjun ne kya bola? I will leave the battlefield, I'll go away to the jungle. Krishna says, paap lagega tumko, right? It will be sinful and it will send you to hell, because that is not akarma, that is not inaction, that is vikarma, that is not doing your duty, that is escapism. Instead, in all the actions that you do, make it akarma, which means do your duties, do them without any attachment, dedicate everything to God. That way, you do all kinds of activities. All your karmic reactions will be burnt away because you do not have personal motive. Always remember, Dhruv Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj, Ambarish, Janak, Krishna himself. All of these were kings. They lived in the greatest opulence. They wore the best of clothes, ate the best of food, lived in the best of palaces. They didn't give up everything. They were in the midst of everything, and yet their minds were not entangled in material desires. and therefore everything that they did was a karma, in action. Karma Yoga is a karma, connecting your karma to God. Right? We call it Karma Yoga, we call it Buddhi Yoga, whatever you call it, where your karma is attached to God. So Krishna is simply saying ki Baba, Buddhiman bano. Do everything that you must do. Do everything on the basis of your varna and your ashram. But do it without expecting anything in return. Are we clear? Yeah? Okay. Krishna Mukherjee, yes dear, you have a question.
Vaishnav, I have a question like this people who take monastic life, who opt for monastic life, they leave their family and everybody and go to the ashram and do sadhana and all.
Yes.
So their family, their parents also have some expectation from them.
Yes.
So is that vikarma?
No. Very good question, Krishna. In the 3rd chapter, the first verse was that only, where Arjun says ki, you keep talking about this Sthita Prajna chap, why don't I also go away? Right? And Krishna says, for some people, staying in society is important, and for some people, going away is important. It depends on your state of mind. And I had spoken to you about Sridhar Swami.
So it is very, very important that we understand if there is a higher purpose, then I give up a lower purpose, right? Param drishtva nivartate. If I have left everything and gone in search of Krishna, I cannot afford to get distracted, right? We all know the story of Bharat Maharaj. What happened to him? He left his palace, he left his family, he left all the treasury, he left his people, and he went in the jungle. He was doing beautiful tapasya, but one deer distracted him, right? So much so that in his last thought, he was so worried about, oh my God, I'm going to die. What's going to happen to the deer? And because of that, in his next birth, he was born a deer, right? So we need to be very, very careful. Gahana karmano gatihi. We have to be very careful about what our higher purpose is. Am I truly going to live a devoted life to Krishna, and then make such drastic decisions in life? Okay? All right. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai. Thank you all for joining.